How's everybody doing?
Today we're breaking down how Cleveland Browns starting quarterback Shedeur Sanders communicates under pressure and how he navigates the strategy of the reporters in the room. We'll look at the questions designed to corner him, how he responds, and what those responses reveal about his leadership. Right from the start, the reporter uses a framing tactic that suggests frustration or blame. But watch how Shedeur avoids that emotional bait and redirects the energy. This isn't just poise, it's controlled communication under pressure.
When you drive the offense down the field, you have an opportunity to tie the game. What was going through your mind when you're taking off the field and you see the play go the way it goes?
I was thankful that I was driving down the field and we scored.
Here's where you see Shedeur recenter the moment. The reporter's framing leans towards disappointment, but Shedeur redirects it to team execution. That's a deliberate communication choice. Leaders control the frame instead of reacting to it.
Did you wish you had the ball in your hand in that moment to tie the game?
This is another trap question from the same reporter. If Shedeur says yes, he's implying the coaches make the wrong call by not putting the ball in his hands. But if he says no, that suggests he doesn't want the ball in pressure situations. Either direction creates a negative headline. That's what makes it a trap. There is no clean answer. So the question now is, how does Shedeur navigate this without stepping on his coaches or undermining his own confidence? Let's watch.
If I'm out there any play, I would always have the ball in my hand, but that's not what football is. Sometimes you got to run the ball. Sometimes you got to kick a field goal. Everything. That's the game. That's the most important thing is the ball. So in any situation, of course you would want to, but I know we practiced something and we executed it in practice, and we just didn't seem to this day. So I would never go against, kind of like what the call was or anything.
Notice what Shedeur does here. The question was structured as a trap. Either criticize the play call or suggest he wanted the ball instead. But he doesn't take either path. He reframes the moment, keeps the focus on the team, and then reinforces trust in his coaches. That's not just media polish. That's leadership. He protects the locker room, he protects the staff, and he keeps the message unified. Now watch this next move from the press. A different reporter jumps in and asks whether the play even worked in practice. This is another pressure tactic because no matter how Shedeur answers, it exposes someone. Either the coaches installed something that wasn't working or the players couldn't execute it. But instead of biting, Shedeur stays factual and avoids putting anyone on blast. That's controlled communication, and it keeps the locker room intact.
Did it work in practice?
No, we just called it in the game and it didn't work in practice. I don't think you call plays in a game that didn't work in practice.
Notice how Shedeur handles that. Instead of criticizing the coaching staff or over-explaining, he gives a simple, grounded answer. No blame, no deflection. That's message control. He closes the door the reporter was trying to open, but he does it without tension. Leaders protect the team without becoming defensive, and that's exactly what you see here.
What was working for you so well today, and it looked like pretty bad conditions out there?
Now, this reporter just asked Shedeur what was working for him in tough conditions. Shedeur keeps his response simple, focusing on his spiritual life and mental clarity. There's nothing tactical here from the press, so we'll move forward to the next moment where the tension picks back up.
Shedeur, the one to Harold, the last touchdown, is he the intended target there? And when you let it go, did you know that he was going to go get it?
This next question isn't necessarily a trap, but it is poorly worded by the reporter. When a reporter asks whether Harold Fannon was the intended target, that phrase can be misunderstood in two very different ways. It could imply the throw was predetermined, which no quarterback wants to admit, or that Shedeur just threw it up for grabs without intention. Either interpretation muddies the message. You can see Shedeur recognize that nuance immediately. He pauses, clarifies the meaning, and keeps the answer clean. That's strong communication awareness, the ability to control ambiguity before it controls the narrative.
Nah. All right, come on.
No, I'm saying it was a great pass.
Who would be the intended target?
The whole play, not the throw, the whole play. When you come up.
I got you. Yes, I was intentionally throwing it to him, and he caught it, made a play, and yeah.
What happened on the first two-point try?
Now, this question isn't a trap, but it is a fishing question. The reporter wants to know what caused the fumbled exchange on the two-point try. And remember, Cleveland's starting center had just gone down. So Shedeur is now working with a backup. This is one of those moments where a quarterback can easily assign blame without even realizing. But watch what happens. Shedeur takes full responsibility immediately. No hesitation, no excuses. That's a leadership move. A quarterback protects the people around him, especially the ones stepping in under pressure.
Just not
No, I didn't. That was on me.
get a grasp of the ball and it slip out.
Yeah, the result was a fumble snap, so that's on me.
And this is where the difference shows. It's one thing to be a quarterback, to throw the ball, to read defenses, process information like a supercomputer. But being a quarterback and being a leader of men are two different roles. What Shedeur shows here isn't arm talent or football IQ. It's leadership. He protects his teammates, takes the weight himself, and keeps the locker room intact. That's the part you can't coach, and the part that matters most in moments like this.
Shedeur, I know you said like that second play 2-point trial was something you guys had practiced, but it wasn't a surprise to you that you were going to go to it after you scored, right? Because I know Kevin was saying like that was always the plan, so that wasn't a surprise to you.
Now, this next question comes with a little more strategy from the reporter. He asks whether the 2-point play call was a surprise, but then references what the coach said earlier. That framing sets up a potential contradiction between player and coach. If Shedeur disagrees even slightly, that becomes a headline. But watch how he handles it. He doesn't take the invitation to comment on coaching decisions. He stays aligned with the staff, stays neutral, and keeps the message unified. That's leadership, controlling the narrative instead of letting the question control you. Let's watch.
No. Yeah, nothing we do out there on the field is a surprise to me, honestly. Like, we practice for situations, we do everything. And if they knew it would pan out like that, I don't think they, would have did it. I don't think in any situation if we feel like something's not going to be a success, we'll intentionally call it. And then, just be surprised when it don't work. You know what I mean? So I think every play, I think that's the whole league. Any play you go into a game with, you expect success. And if that don't happen, that don't happen.
The result obviously wasn't what you wanted, but what do you think you may have shown today in coming back, overcoming all the adversity that you had in this game, including losing your center and also already being down to...
I say God's present.
What about just the ability, do you think you showed just the Moxy, the never say die relentlessness, the ability to just come back and just fight to the bitter end?
This next question comes from veteran reporter Mary Kay Cabot, and listen carefully to the structure. She frames the moment using her own language. The Moxy, the relentlessness, the comeback, almost guiding Shedeur toward confirming a storyline she may be already writing. This is a very common press tactic. Frame the narrative inside the question so the athlete validates it on record. But instead of co-signing the framing, watch what Shedeur does. He takes back control of the message, grounds his answer in who he is, and refuses to let someone else define his performance for him. That's communication awareness and leadership in real time. Let's watch.
I've been this way. So this is God showing a lot of people who I am. A lot of circumstances, what sometimes get you mentally not in your best place, and you got to find your happy place. You got to find that it for you. So I think that's kind of I've been praying and doing a lot, talking to God this week in general to get back to that place, to get back there. So, yeah, it's him. He the one did it for me.
And speaking of Jerry, just on the touchdown throw to him, how did that play sort of develop? What did you see? And then how nice was it to be able to connect with him for that score?
Now, this question isn't a setup at all. It's just a clean, human moment from the reporter. He's asking Shedeur to reflect on something that clearly meant a lot on the field. What's interesting here isn't the tactic, but the answer. Watch how Shedeur uses this moment to uplift his teammate and show what leadership looks like in small moments, not just big ones.
It was truly exciting being able to connect with him because I know the season in a lot kind of like hasn't gone the way he wanted to this year. So the fact that, one decision could bring some more joy in his life and be able to help the team out overall, that brings me peace, that brings me happiness.
Do you feel like you're more in command now? Do you feel like it's more, quote unquote, your team as the quarterback now compared to a couple weeks ago?
This question is a classic trap. If Shedeur says yes, it sounds like he's declaring ownership of the team after just a few starts. If he says no, it signals a lack of confidence. There's no safe binary answer here. But watch what he does instead. He sidesteps the frame completely, reframes the moment, and brings the focus back to leadership and foundation building. You see, leaders don't crown themselves. People have to choose whether or not to follow you. And Shedeur communicates that without ever saying it out loud.
A couple weeks ago, I wasn't the starter. It was only second, third game.
But how much more just how much more comfortable do you feel in that role?
Now, this question sounds harmless, but it's actually another trap. The reporter asks, how comfortable are you in the role? And that framing matters because it assumes comfort is the goal and that performance should rise with comfort. If Shedeur says he's very comfortable, it can sound overconfident. If he says he's not comfortable, it can signal uncertainty. So there's no safe answer. But watch how he flips it. Instead of accepting the frame, he reframes the entire idea. He says he's comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's a leadership mindset. He's showing he's embracing the growth, the pressure, and the responsibility, not hiding behind the idea of comfort.
I mean, I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. You gotta understand, like that's just kind of like the situation I'm in, and I'm fine with that. I love that, you know, cause my story and everything inspires people to make sure, even if they're in uncomfortable positions and situations, to stay on course and keep that mental strong, you know, and be able to push through adversity, knowing that you'll be able to see the other side one day. So that's kind of what it is.
We're gonna take two more.
When you ran it in, and then you threw that touchdown pass, and you're bringing the Browns back there at the end, how much love did you feel from the dog pound and from the fans? And can you just feel the excitement here and what it's going to be like when you guys kind of get this thing going?
Now on the surface, this next question sounds like a softball. Mary Kay Cabot asks if he can feel the love from the dog pound, especially when you all get this thing going. But notice the framing here. That phrasing assumes he's part of the long-term solution and implies a future where he's leading this turnaround. Some players might run with that and crown themselves as the next franchise guy. Instead, watch how Shedeur grounds the moment. Rather than elevating himself, he brings it back to humility, back to being drafted, back to the love that's been there since day one. He avoids the trap of overclaiming and stays centered on gratitude. That's a leadership discipline. Don't take more than the moment is giving you.
Yeah, I always seen the assignment since draft day. I seen the assignment, you know. So ain't nothing changed. Nothing changed with it at all. But enjoy, like deep down within myself, you know. That's where I felt the most excitement, because it's like, you know, sometimes you don't know if you're going to get in that place, you know. You don't know if you're going to get in the end zone. It's a lot, you know, that come with this game. It's a lot to even get on the field. So it's like the fact to be able to start making that a habit, you know, that's new to me. That's something different for me. So, you know, I'm just thankful for that.
What would you like to accomplish in these next, I know you always talk about getting better each time, but these next few weeks, what would you like to accomplish? Obviously, besides winning, but what would you like to accomplish in terms of improving every single start?
This next question is a totally fair one. The reporter asks what he wants to improve with every single start. And for a rookie quarterback, that's a completely reasonable thing to explore. But what makes this moment worth breaking down is how specific Shedeur gets in his answer. A lot of players respond with generalities, phrases like just keep getting better or take it one day at a time. But watch what Shedeur does instead. He names exact areas: timing, anticipation, communication. That level of specificity tells you he's just not talking. He has a clear mental map of where he is and where he wants to go. That's a sign of strategic self-awareness, and it's a leadership trait you don't always see this early in a career.
I feel like this week we have improved from sideline communication, you know, just keeping everybody chill, keeping everybody under one tent, basically, analogy. Communication with everybody, just checking everybody's temperature, how everybody feeling, you know, what we need to do offensively, you know, what players are comfortable with, everything. So I feel like that was something that I feel like we improved this week. Going into next week, of course, it'll be timing. It'll be being able to anticipate a little bit more.
If you found this breakdown helpful, subscribe for more analysis of leadership, communication, and press room strategy. This is Press Room Breakdown, where we study how athletes, coaches, and public figures lead when the microphones turn on. Thanks for watching.